us mid-match. This is the end of my pre-show here uh, for a week ahead of time if you were watching from the last episode. So, we needed Marty Jannetty to debut so we could do Dark Side of Marty Jannetty. Not debut, but get back from rehab, you know, as you do when you're Marty Jannetty, as you'll learn more about Marty Jannetty as we book. So yeah. What else am I looking for here? That's basically the end of the match here for Bob Holly and El Snow versus Steven Regal and Taz. Regal submitted Snow with a Regal stretch. Regal's debut on the main roster. Actually, I think he's done a pre-show match on the main roster before. 87. I actually was hoping they would get a little bit higher than that. Not gonna lie, but it's all right. Let's see. Henig's gimmick is getting stale. Marty Jannetty was rusty, but that will go away once he has a few more matches under his belt. Yeah, he's been out in rehab. An 8-minute match. Austin and Jannetty defeated Sika and Afa. Sika was head and shoulders above everybody else. Afa even beat Austin. Good match, though, overall. We had Pegasus, Chris Benoit, defeat the Warrior with a Dragon Suplex. Great match, actually. Crowd was buzzing. All right. Ole and James St. Dillon play off each other well. Good stuff. We got Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Mick Foley. Foley's gimmick is getting stale. Okay. Good to know. Kamala. Not enough selling shown in this one. Okay. Ricky Foley. And a 97 despite the poor promo. Kurt Hennig was off his game and pulled an 85, so good work there. Nothing of note in these post-show matches. Okay. A 94 for the show. Well, that was one match with Marty Jannetty. He got a win there. Let's see what else he gets. Go ahead and play this.
We're the best at doing whatever it takes to win.
In the 1980s, Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels formed one of the greatest tag teams of the WWF's golden era, the Rockers.
We're coming at you.
With their
That was my go-home
high-flying
show,
moves and
the Super
glam rock
Clash.
style, they became heartthrobs and wrestling superstars.
An arena of 15 to 20,000 screaming people. You don't even get that kind of hype from drugs.
They've got that charisma that people love.
And the outfits and the hair and the smile.
After a shocking betrayal, only Shawn would ascend to the dizzying heights of fame that Marty had always craved.
Marty just let him walk all over him and just steal away his life.
Driven by an
close
insatiable
battle.
desire to reclaim his former success, Marty spirals down a destructive path of self-sabotage.
I get in a lot of trouble for my outsiders ring antics.
He takes everything to the extreme.
It's all about getting that reaction. The problem is you get hooked onto that.
Sometimes Marty's just his own worst enemy.
Burdened with health issues, Marty ignites a storm of controversy that threatens to consume his legacy, bringing him face to face with a secret that has haunted him for over 50 years.
He suggested he committed murder.
I was only trying to beat his ass. I wasn't trying to kill him.
I mean, he said a lot of crazy things, so we can only hope that there's no truth to any of it.
Trying to decipher fact from fiction is part of the game, too.
Wait, so did this happen?
I mean, it could have.
Okay.
How you doing, brother? See you, man.
Damn, how many cameras we got? 48 today. I am MJ in the house, otherwise known as Marty Jannetty, one of the rockers from back in the day.
Jannetty going all the way up, bounce away.
This morning was rough. Like, it's a nerve. I can touch it right now.
To right there's the worst point.
Man, I can't wait till it heals, all the way so we can cut it open and put the joint back in.
He's a very charismatic, very charming individual. My name is Al Snow, former WWE superstar.
What does everybody want?
I've been a professional wrestler for going on 41 years, and at one time I was Marty Jannetty's partner in the New Rockers. And on that run, that was where Marty hurt his ankle. I really severely rolled it.
And Marty Jannetty collapsing into the rope.
Over the years, just got progressively worse and worse.
Yeah.
I've known Marty Jannetty since really high school is where we played football together and just were in the same class. I'm Lee McCluskey. I'm an orthopedic surgeon, do mostly foot and ankle work. Marty was he was a fantastic athlete, first of all, wrestling, of course, in high school. He had a lot of interaction with my brothers playing ball and so forth. I'm George McCluskey, and I'm a shoulder and elbow surgeon in Columbus, Georgia. Most people have one problem in one shoulder or one problem in one foot or ankle, but he's got about 6 or 7 things.
MJ's up in the house.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what kind of pain would you say Marty is under right now?
12. On a good day.
Your body can only take so many slams, and I took quite a few. The ankles were bound to go, and we're working on those now. I had joint replacement in the right ankle, reconstructive on the left. Both shoulders are kind of torn up.
I remember him as being a very aggressive football player. Probably took sports more seriously than he did school. A little on the wild side.
I remember we were chemistry lab doing some experiments, and he said, hey, whatever you guys do now, do not put the blue chemicals in with the orange chemicals. And he didn't say why. And I thought, well, I would like to know why. Well, I took the 2 chemicals and mixed them together, and wham! One girl, well, she got blown back a few feet. The window that was behind me blew out, and I got stuff on me from the explosion. I was all over the school. Everybody's like, man, Jannetty blew up the lab. Did you hear about Jannetty blew up the lab? I don't think anybody else ever tried to mix the blue and orange.
You can't believe 99% of what Marty's, talking about. My name is Karen Walker, and I've known Marty for upwards of 40 years. He comes up with some of the strangest things, when Marty just walks up and talks to you, it's probably all a big story that he's making up as he goes along.
Actually, I was 13 and 12 when I'd come over, and the hookers would give me freebies because I thought it was cute. Donald Trump was coming towards me smiling. How you doing, Marty? You always got a pretty girl under your arms. I got talked into going to a sex addiction clinic, and I ended up dating my counselor.
He puts on a show for every single person he comes in contact to. So if you don't know him intimately, you don't know the gentle side, the kind side, the side that gets his feelings hurt.
Growing up, my mom and dad had a lot of issues with each other, and we struggled a lot. My dad would never let my mom beat on me. She would always have to wait till he went to work. So I would hide it from him so that they wouldn't get in a fight.
It was a tough upbringing. I mean, he's got some bad stories. My name is Mean Mike Moran, and I wrestled for WCW as one half of the Disorderly Conduct, and I also wrestled for 20 plus years as one half of the Texas Hangman. I met Marty in 1984. It was both our first territories, our first opportunities. Here we are 39 years later, still friends. Marty's mom was very abusive. His dad he loved to death, but his dad wasn't always there. I think that honestly athletics got him out of there. I mean, he was a good athlete, thankfully. And he punched his ticket and got to see the world and get the hell out of Columbus.
Determined to channel his natural athleticism into a pro wrestling career, Marty picks up the trade from veteran Jerry Oates before making his debut in 1983 in Mid-South.
A great maneuver by Marty Oates.
After jumping to Central States Wrestling in Kansas City, Marty's invited to mentor another young wrestler.
So I'm looking for him in the dressing room. I don't know who I'm looking for. I went up to this one guy because he looked shy and quiet, kind of standoffish. He was sort of nerdy, you know. He had his blue jeans pulled up, you know, up under his chest with a big belt buckle, short hair. And I felt comfortable go asking, like, "Hey, man, you know Shawn Michaels around here? Shawn Michaels, you know Shawn Michaels? Well, I'm Shawn Michaels." And I'm thinking I'm supposed to hang out with him and show him around. Well, it's gonna take some work. You know, from there, it was probably 2 weeks later. They said, "You guys get together for a tag match." We went out there, and it was like magic. Just like telepathy. We already knew what we were thinking. When we tapped, he goes, "Did you feel something there?" "Yeah, that's different."
The Midnight Rockers!
Those guys were incredible. My name is Pat Tanaka. I've wrestled for many decades, and I guess people would know me best because I've wrestled the Rockers for many, many years.
Look out!
Marty and Shawn would run out. All you heard was just loud, high-pitched screams of girls going crazy.
Marty just seemed like he was out there having fun and was just doing what he knew how to do. I am Bruce the Barber Beefcake, WWE Hall of Famer.
Welcome to the barbershop, ladies and gentlemen.
And I am Missy Beefcake, also known as the Delish. Marty had this thing where you just, no matter where he was in the ring, you couldn't take your eyes off of him. He'd go here or there, and he just, made you want to look and, you know, maybe even like undress him with your eyes and wonder like what else was going on in that, you know, little outfit he was wearing.
I mean, I was in heaven having all these girls around for several states.
I got into like middle school and I got a crush on Kerry Von Erich, you know? And I went to see Kerry Von Erich one night and Marty was there and I saw him and I was like, oh my God, that's a Greek god. I'm gonna go home and throw rocks at my boyfriend. Yeah, and he was looking at me the same way. So we ended up getting together that night and I'm his forever wifey, by the way.
Every time I went to St. Louis, I would see her. Because we hit it off and
Girlfriend.
Yeah, well, for St. Louis, you know.
Two very different
Marty and Shawn
descriptions
have a
of the
stellar
relationship.
run in the AWA, culminating in a violent match that gets the attention of Vince McMahon. Dropping Midnight from their name, the Rockers are signed to the WWF.
And I think this is well known through the wrestling world what happened our first day in there.
It was common for all the wrestlers to go out, party, you know, rumble around, but to the extent that Marty and Shawn would go, it was ridiculous.
We had great times. I mean, we had great times, but yeah, that's the only way I can say it without getting myself in trouble.
To celebrate their first night in the company, Marty and Shawn joined their
how's
new
it going?
colleagues at a bar, but their notorious
Michael?
reputation for partying precedes them.
Jimmy Jack Funk comes up. "Hey, I heard you guys are partiers, huh? Y'all supposed to be some big partiers." He goes, "Yeah, let me see you do this." And he takes a glass, bit the glass, and Shawn's like, "Well, I can't do that, but I can
Pretty
do this."
wild
He took
party
a
trick.
wine glass, breaks it over his head.
And then they ended up throwing some shot glasses, I believe, over the bar at the Mirror.
A truck that
They
hit
would tear
you.
things
I hope you're
up, They
okay.
would fight. They would bleed everywhere. I mean, like just like they were in a wrestling ring. Throw each other around and stuff. Just get so messed up.
And that's why they were booted out, because they were just too wild.
If we just got one day and out on this one day and done for WWE, now what do we do?
This is a pay-per-view, huh? Okay, yeah.
After only 1 week in the WWF, Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels are fired for their wild and out-of-control antics.
And I mean, what kind of luck, you know, that GAT luck that I talk about? I've not explained GAT
One
yet,
weekend.
I'm gonna bring it up with him as many times as I can because it's a factor that exists.
Damn,
MJ's up in this
that's rough,
house.
Michael.
We are gathered here today in the Holy
If
Spirit
it helps,
of
that's
GAT.
how Marty Jannetty always feels.
Just stands for God's amusement toy. When God gets a little bored with his natural disasters, where's Jannetty? And I'll be just strutting down the street minding my own business, and all of a sudden, he throws a couple of bolts of lightning on my, and he just sits there and giggles.
GAT, back at GAT again. GAT, because he can't accept responsibility, so it's got to be somebody's fault, so it must be God who's always turning the tables on him. And it's like, no, it's you.
It is. And so, oh, I did see the Royal Rumble, yeah. It was a pretty good show. I don't keep up with the product. If anything, I'll watch like from the Rumble to WrestleMania. This year, I won't say I'm like super inspired to catch every event in between, but I'll probably check out WrestleMania. Yeah, I did backyard wrestling back in the day too. And that was only for a few years, but definitely is taxing on the body. Had a couple concussions from, I was doing football at the same time, so some concussions from that and some from each probably. But yeah, I was gonna say here I'm booking Marty Jannetty and Al Snow as the new Rockers since Shawn Michaels is already like well eclipsed being in a tag team pretty much. Well, we could try it again. I want to try out seeing if him and Al Snow will make a good team. He teamed with Austin last week.
I do believe Marty has had some bad luck, no doubt about it. But I also believe, and I've told Marty this, that a lot of the decisions you've made have caused the problems you have, and you need to stop blaming GAT.
His worst quality is Marty's own worst enemy.
Gone from the WWF, Marty and Shawn sign with a much smaller promotion, Continental Wrestling,
You know, in our short career, we beat them all.
where they struggle to make ends meet. But after a year of impressing the crowds, they once again attract the attention of Vince McMahon, leading to a second chance with the company.
Well, if you got talent, you get many chances in any sport. They just kept moving up and up and up on the card. Women love.
HBK may have been a dick, but he never let me down like Vince and Benoit. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Maybe those stories just aren't out there.
Loved them. The guys wanted to be them. I mean, the Rockers were truly on their way.
We back down from nobody, and the future has a lot to hold for the Rockers.
We are the masters of motion, and whether it be for business or pleasure, we have all the right moves.
During the Survivor Series, Lord Alfred Hayes.
The girls that were chasing the guys around the 80s and the 90s were, you know, models and stuff.
Strippers.
We always party together. I mean, we used to have like, 20, 30 girls down at the pool. I was getting tired and I said, Marty, I'm gonna lay down for a minute. So I lay down, I closed my eyes, and all of a sudden, he has his pistol in his hand, he just starts going bam, 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 bam. Shooting at me, it's everything. I jumped off, I thought he'd shot me. He was trying to wake me up. He didn't want me to go to sleep. Jesus Christ, I had a heart attack, man. When he had done that, he'd shot his car, put a hole in his bedroom, through the glass windows, and he got mad at me. If you wouldn't have laid down, I wouldn't have had to done that. Yeah, fuck, Marty was crazy, man. We had so much fun.
When Marty and Shawn were really hitting it out of the park, they'd go to the hotel, they'd take a girl to the room, and there were girls lined up in the hallway waiting to go and take their turn at bat.
Like, we were on the road 300 days a year. We partied 290 of them. And Shawn and I, we were like brothers. We would room together, we would rent a car together, we'd go eat together, we'd go to the gym together. You know, a lot of women we did together. And at one point, you couldn't have been a closer couple of guys in wrestling.
As their popularity soars, Marty and Shawn reach the pinnacle of their careers as a tag team. But on December 11th, 1990, a tragic incident threatens to derail their momentum.
Chuck Austin is his name. I had to show him there's this move I do for the finish, and there's a rocker dropper.
Yeah, look at this, here we go! Yeah!
You know, I was going stepping through it. He goes, "Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've done it before." And I know exactly what went wrong. But right before, I was going off the second rope and come down, grab him by the back of the head and drive down like a bulldog sort of type of thing. He took that decent, and the crowd popped. It looked good. So when I got him up in for the rocker dropper, he was all excited, wanted to make sure he got that same pop. But see, he stood all the way up and dove down.
He dove straight into the ring and broke his neck.
I go to roll him over. I stepped over him, I saw his legs crossed. And I saw him, he was laying there and he picked his arms up and wiggle his fingers. And I tagged Shawn, I said, "I think he might be hurt, man." And Shawn did great. He dove off the top. He did not touch him at all. And he covered for the pin. And he was still laying there. He hasn't moved. And so we got out the ring. So by the time I got in the back, everybody's gathered around the monitors looking. But he has not moved his legs. They're still crossed. He's not moved from the spot. But I took him in the back and got him on a helicopter. And I'm watching all that. And just thinking, man, I caused that.
His job was to lose, but he lost more than he bargained for.
And Chuck says he expressed reservations about having to fall to the mat without using his hands to break his fall.
I questioned him several times, and he told me he was a professional and he would protect me. When I hit the mat, I knew my neck was broken.
I find out 6 months later, they're suing us for $10 million. The jury, they know what they saw on the TV, you know, because they had the TV monitor and they showed them, and they reacted on that. I did too, but oh God. If they don't see it done right, it looks sickening to see.
There's a story that Dean Malenko came into the court.
Yeah, Dean come in, they told the jury, "Well, you're gonna see the move." Brought the mat in, did the rocker dropper there. The jury just sat there like, just looking, but it was just no reaction, none. And for wrestlers, that's the worst thing. You either want a yay or a boo. You don't want just nothing. It was 7 days worth of trial. We're done. They got the judgment. And it was probably 20 minutes. When they come down and say, we're ready. You know, it's hard to get 2 people to agree. Get 12 people, and you're ready in 20 minutes.
After a very brief deliberation, the jury returns with a verdict.
We find WWE 90% negligent. We find Chuck Austin 5%, Marty Jannetty 5% negligent. We find Chuck Austin $24 million. Now, I jumped up, and I was going to say, they were suing for 10. You know, my lawyer said, sit down, we'll appeal. We appealed. They called me and said they're willing to make a settlement for $10 million. You mean I got to pay 5% on that? I think they had said they would just take it out of my royalty checks. I just didn't get as much pay as I was supposed to get for a while. The judge dismisses Shawn and says, you're out of it. There's not no evidence against you. That's the luck of Shawn. Shawn, I've said this 1,000,000 times, and everybody knows him will agree. He can step in shit and come out smelling like a rose.
I have a wild roster. And this is it's super clash, you know what I mean? You gotta get a good little selection going on.
I'm not a Shawn fan at all, not even this much. He was egotistical. He was, the heartbreak kid kind of attitude. Well, that's his real attitude. That wasn't a show.
I mean, he was always a little cocky and arrogant, but that's my brother. He's good to me. Then he started getting edgy towards me.
He would get aggravated when Marty'd overdo something. But on Sean's behalf, he didn't have quite as bad of a habit as Marty did.
I couldn't list the number of drugs Marty's probably done. I know cocaine, crack, somas, halcyons.
I saw him take a lot of halcyon, a heavy-duty tranquilizer, and he was laying on the floor with the pills spilt everywhere. I had to call Sean and tell Sean, what do I do? Do I call an ambulance? Do I call a cop? What do I do? And he's like, don't call nobody. Him and Jimmy Snuka, they just bust through the door and grabbed him and got him in the shower and stuff, and I cleaned the room, got the pills, and, you know, I was just somewhere else, you know, oh my God, you know, he almost died.
I think maybe it was that Sean thought that Marty was going to screw up really bad because some of the shit that he did was, you know, crazy.
Like most partners do, because I'm in a tag team, Marty and Sean started butting heads a little bit and escalated to where they actually had a physical fight in a hotel.
Marty came in drunk, bumping all over, cussing Sean. And then here comes Sean and runs across the room and hits Marty, knocks him out a window. Luckily, we were down low and he hit the bushes and crawled back through the window, got up in Sean's face and said, think you can do it again? Marty gets up and walks out the door. Sean.
Yeah, I also don't know. I've never had halcyon, but I'm not someone who likes like painkiller sensations or, you know, anything like that. So I don't really know how one would do it recreationally. I guess with wrestlers, you know, you just get hurt so much that you're taking other kinds and I mean of painkiller and tranquilizer type things. So yeah, pretty rough.
Sean walks out behind him. Next thing you know, I look out there and Marty's got Sean on the ground. He's got his knees on his arms and he's choking him. And he's already purple.
Marty just said he just remembers looking down and seeing his jeans were all bloody and it wasn't his blood.
Shouldn't have never happened, but it did. And, you know, Sean had to miss a few days on the road from it.
And I think that was a catalyst to their end of their partnership because, you know what, if you get your ass kicked by your partner, it's kind of hard to go back to normal.
We met with Vince, and Vince was like, trying to find a way to split you guys up and take you into singles. I said, Sean, I need to talk about that first. Sean's like, I'm okay with it. Right fucking there. I mean, like, wow, man. I said, well, where are we going to go with this? And, you know, Vince was saying, well, I see Sean being a superstar, and I just don't quite see that in you right now, Marty.
Could that have crushed him or what?
Vince just saw something more in Sean, and I think that probably Sean was in Vince's ear or ass more than Marty was.
I hate to use this expression, but kissing ass.
I said, what are we doing me? Because, see, I figured, okay, you're going to use me to get him over, then shit can me, I ain't going to do it. But if you're keeping me aboard, you know, of course I'll do it.
Although there has been a great deal of speculation as of late that maybe there's a little trouble there between the Rockers. What do you know about it? Any rumors? Have you heard anything?
They were planting the seeds in matches prior where Marty and Sean had a little dust up.
There was speculation.
And Sean would always be the one that was initiating or getting angry or more frustrated.
Of course, the magazines were running with the story, how we were jealous of each other, who had prettier girls.
The rumors about them are true. They don't get along at all.
They had the barber shop, which was Brutus the Barber Beefcake's kind of like talk show.
Let's welcome them right now. They're the Rockers.
And that was the pinnacle of the turn.
You've been having some problems, but I want to get you out here on the barber shop so we can talk about this thing and get it all straight once and for all.
Before that day, I had no idea that was going to happen.
I don't want to put the blame back and forth, just like you said. I'll take the blame. I'm sorry. I want this thing to work with the Rockers.
And if you want to go on your own, then walk off and leave. If you want to stick together and make this thing work, when I turn around, we're going to shake hands, and we're going to go on a rock and roll like the Rockers can do.
He waits a second, listens to the crowd say, no, stay together, stay together. And he spins me around. We shake hands.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Told you. See that. Told you.
You know, and the crowd goes crazy. I look that way, and he turns, wham!
Good. Oh, I knew he was going to do that. I just knew he was going to do that.
He kicked me so hard I didn't feel the glass.
Right through the glass window of the barber shop.
The fans didn't want the team to break up, no doubt. Nobody saw it coming.
That's, you know, which really made it the moment. It, in a way, it really broke my heart.
Oh, he's hurt.
I think we seemed like best friends, you know, to the people, you know, so it really kind of broke their heart for us to split, but then to split that way.
What a despicable act that was.
It was a career-defining moment for both of them, but in really, I hate to say it, I mean, in two different ways. For Shawn, it was, you know, a launching pad, and he took it.
It's a problem with you, Shawn. Rockers are history.
And Marty, if he could have just stayed out of his own way, could have had the same ascension as what Shawn did. And I think that's where you could see the two, you know, go different paths.
Following a tumultuous relationship soured by excessive partying and physical fights, the Rockers finally split, leaving Shawn and Marty to pursue their separate journeys as singles wrestlers.
You know, he was a little upset, and then, you know, then he goes, what's supposed to happen to me? And I said, well, what's going to happen with both of us? We're both going to then get judged on where our careers take us. And you get over it, they're going to use you. Plain and simple.
Things definitely had changed. It's almost like they weren't a tag team at all. It got a little ugly.
I think Marty resented Shawn at that point, and I think Shawn was trying to distance himself from Marty because he was, you know, making his way up the ladder, and so he was trying to get as far away from him as he could.
Marty lives for the moment. He just makes really bad decisions.
One of the girls I was seeing down in Tampa, we went to a club, and she was a dancer, stripper, dancer, whatever, exotic dancer, there we go. There was a policeman on the premises, passed me down, and he pulls out a little baggie of cocaine. We got arrested, and I did 6 months house arrest for that.
He's got multiple stories of getting kicked out of multiple countries because he got arrested for doing something.
Hammer's just waiting to get his ass home.
It was in India.
Way too
it's a
far with
5-star
that.
hotel. Marty goes up to a cop.
Can I ride? Can I ride?
Asks if he can ride his motorcycle. I'm sure the cop is thinking he's going to drive down the street. Marty goes up the stairs of this hotel. For some reason, the doorman opens the door.
And there's all these people around the fountain. And then he goes straight inside the lobby.
And then wipes out and knocks one of the dudes into the fountain.
It was just like, did he really do that? I mean...
Nice spot. You know, he's been in trouble now with the law. They booted him out for a minute.
He and the Iron Sheik, I think he's ahead by one of the number of times that a person's been fired and then brought back and fired again and brought back.
Marty Jannetty! That's Marty Jannetty!
And then they did the whole New Rockers thing, which Marty feels Shawn actually was the one who suggested it to kind of sabotage and make people not think of the original Rockers.
Here we go with a new rocker!
The problem was, I don't think Marty was 100% invested in it. I don't blame him. It kind of took a swing at what he and Shawn had accomplished and what they had done.
They'll make you think they're really planning to do something with you, but they're really just, you're just a filler for the card. And that's when Marty realized it was time to go.
He went to WCW, and it looked like they were really going to get behind him. They were going to try to do something major with him, but Marty kind of got in his own way again.
In WCW, he was in trouble with the law. You know, he'd gotten several DUIs. One led eventually to him losing his license for 10 years.
The contract ran out, and then that was it. He just kind of floundered after that.
Witness!
hurt Marty when Sean Stark was rising without him?
It devastated him to the point where he had posters of Sean on his wall with darts, and he would just try to hit him in the most perfect spots.
By the late 1990s, Marty struggles to compete on the indie circuit and eventually vanishes from the public eye. Following a string of DUI charges, jail stints, and substance abuse issues, Marty spirals for the next 5 years before finally hitting rock bottom.
The first time I'd ever considered ending, life, it was like, fuck it, I've had enough. What I was gonna do is buy the biggest pile of cocaine and just do it until my heart busted. So that was my conversation with the higher power, was, if you don't want me doing this, you need to let me know. And I'm pretty stupid, so make it obvious. You were given a sign, make it obvious, my dumbass. And his phone rang, I looked down, didn't recognize the number. And that call that came in was Sean calling me. And he was inviting me to, it's called AIM, it's an Athletes International Ministry. He wanted me to go to that in Phoenix, Arizona. He goes, I'll take care of everything, don't worry about that, but I would like you to be my guest. Before he made that call to me, we ain't talked in person, on the phone in 7, 8 years. And that's when they hit me like, holy shit. I mean, you asked for a sign?
That's pretty big.
And then I did go to Arizona, and then, Sean ended up, the baptized thing where they dunk you in the water. Sean ended up being the one to dunk me in the water. And we did all that, and for like 3 weeks, I lived the most pure life. Now that all that has happened, I get a phone call from WWE. They want to do a rocker reunion. So, of course, Yeah, so we're at the curtain now. It's a rocker reunion. I've been off TV for so many years. Now I start getting nervous, and Sean picked up on it. He goes, what's wrong? I said, man, what, they don't remember me? And he goes, are you kidding me? He goes, we were the rockers. Nobody's going to forget us. As you said that, the music hit. And they go out there and they pop. And I was like, wow. But the amazing thing with Sean and I was how we were so in tune with each other. Like we became one when we tagged together. Even when we bounced over the rope and went down, our feet would hit the floor at the same time. Everything was in unison, as a one. But the next day, that's when they told me, well, you're a hell of a match. Yeah, they want to give you a contract. The way we're going to use you, you'll make over $1 million. You couldn't ask for a better, comeback. So you end up in jail a week later.
After a successful Rockers reunion, the WWF plans to continue featuring Marty on a regular basis. But trouble with the law once again prevents him from capitalizing on the opportunity.
Well, wifey, we got to the apartment and got into a big fight. And the neighbor called the police, and police show up. They were like, oh, he's on probation, go get him. So I'm in jail now.
And I just saw him and that stripper girl a week before, and I warned him about her, and then a week later they got in a big fight and he got arrested, which eventually had him in the house arrest, and he lost his job. And he had just gotten that was his last shot. But guess what's the common denominator? Hanging out with strippers that do drugs and things like that, that's a lot of fun. I like that too. But don't be surprised if it bites you in the ass.
Vince, he's like, gosh, I love Marty, I love him. Great guy, but he's got the biggest black cloud over his head. Yeah, I mean, and it's true. When Vince recognizes that, and he's one of the smartest people I've ever met.
He does have a black cloud that follows him around, but he's the one that's, putting it up there. You know what I mean? And keeping it on a leash to follow him, It doesn't have to be that way.
Hold on, time out. Yeah, it's so swollen I can't get the pants laid up. Sometimes when that crap's acting up, then I get like lightheaded. So I was just looking at y'all, I'm like, oh, they're fading out. Oh, shit.
Do you ever worry about Marty?
I do worry about him because he's alone, even though he says he has a lot of telephone girlfriends and whatnot.
You know, in the last years, I would see him and he'd be still trying to getting in the ring and trying to wrestle, and his ankle was horrible. It's ridiculous. I don't even know how he got around. I was able to walk or anything. His audience now, instead of being out around the ring, is the internet, is Facebook. Yeah.
I think that Facebook makes him feel like he's not housebound, which for the most part he is with his injury.
He does say some wild shit on Facebook, y'all.
So you can reach out and touch people. They can, respond to him. You can get reaction from people.
I think his life feeds off of that because of the way we grew up. We grew up wanting that every night, right? And then all of a sudden one day, you see that there's no more of that. Social media is right there.
Pay-per-view done.
He sits around and he's trying to think, okay, what can I think of funny for the book? He sits around and tries to come up with a funny story. And those are the ones are bullshit.
Whoa, Rockin' Rebel broke his ribs.
No, I didn't do the post about the daughter thing. That was complete hack. I didn't even see it to know to defend it or anything. And I was hearing all these things like, you wouldn't have sex with your daughter? I'm like, what? The hell are you talking about? I mean, she didn't deserve any of that. I mean, neither did I, but
100.
She certainly didn't. I mean, I'm a little wacko on the internet. That's another reason, anything wacky like that is believable because, well, Marty.
There are lots of things that I see Marty post on Facebook, and I'm like, what are you doing? And there was a point where there were a lot of holy shit moments.
So Marty Jannetty is trending on Twitter because he says that he was 13 years old, someone grabbed him, dragged him to the back of a bowling alley, and then here's a quote from Marty Jannetty on the Facebook post. He said, "That was the very first time I made a man disappear."
One of my sheriff friends, he called me, goes, "What did you do?" And I said, "Are you talking about the post on Facebook?" He goes, "I don't know. I just know they're putting a warrant out to go arrest you."
The Columbus, Georgia Police Department told TMZ, the first step will be seen if we have any missing persons or unidentified remains cases that match the limited information in the post. I mean, if something happened, I mean, it is not out of the realm of possibility that they could solve this crime.
What happened?
When my friends in Germany are sending me the newspapers, and on the headlines is Mauler Marty kills man. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, what happened to the rapist? You were more concerned that a kid just tried to save himself, and then it ended up accidentally. It's called accidental deaths for a reason.
Yes. Okay, we're good.
There was a big story about your claim that you made a man disappear after an attempted rape on your person as a teenager. Did you realize how public this was going to get in police involvement?
No, hell no.
The police showed up on his doorstep. I mean, this thing went all the way. They investigated.
I had to deal with police. I was scared to go to the airport. That's the only reason I had to tell that it was a storyline, so they would leave me alone.
Let's talk hypothetical, okay?
Hypothetical.
Hypothetically, whatever the story was, hypothetically, that this did happen.
Okay.
Tell me the story.
Okay. So this is the bowling alley. It used to be called Victory Lane. When I was 14, I worked here. The dude that worked the front desk, he also was somebody to buy weed from. When I went to buy the weed from the guy, I went out in the parking lot and sat in the car. As he gave me the bag, and he reached over and he put his hand in my crotch and said, "What's this?" And I smacked his hand. I said, "No, not me." He got a little aggressive off of that. And he chased and grabbed and got me to the back. Big boy, man, he got me down and got on top. And, he was trying to get to my pants, unbutton take my pants down. I'm got a 200-pound weight on me. So this is as far as I can go, and it's right there. And it was about this size, maybe a touch bigger, maybe. But it was like, get off me, you know, I'm just trying to get him off. And evidently it caught him in the wrong place, the temple that can end your life.
Yeah.
You know, I'm thinking, don't know what to do. I mean, do I tell the police? But I thought I'd go get my family member. We both agreed, can't call the police. You know, we thought that would be the wrong move. On the other side of the trees, the far back trees, that's Chattahoochee River. So, you know, we got to get it to the river. This is all hypothetical.
So they did.
Remember that, Columbus Police Department. It's a storyline for wrestling. With what happened in the car, with the grab, and that, I'll give that. That's truth. If you're gonna write a storyline for wrestling, I mean, but you take something that happened and you magnify it. I mean, I see now that was too much of a storyline. They did a missing persons, they didn't find nobody. So I mean, that should be the end of it.
No body, no crime. For Marty.
No friends for Marty. We have no evidence of murder, connected cold cases, or missing person concerning Marty Jannetty's allegations.
I love Marty dearly, and I just want him to be happy. I fear that he's going to be alone, because this becomes your life, you know? And now what do you do when you got to keep going on living, but your life died?
Marty, we love you. Keep your hands off my wife. The future is bright, Marty. Give it a chance. There are people that love you out there.
I'm one of them, and I had thought about maybe flashing you, Marty, but I'm mic'd up, so you're missing out.
There's a thing in the wrestling business about, you know, oh, I don't want to be the Marty Jannetty of the team. Let me tell you something. You'd be lucky if you were, because there would certainly not be a Shawn Michaels at the level that Shawn Michaels was if it was not for Marty Jannetty.
How do you feel about Shawn Michaels today?
I love him to death. I mean, there was 7 years of undeniably the best relationship two people could have.
Supposed to win that?
And then, you know, from ever since the phone call, he's been great again. So yeah, I love him to death. You know?
Well,
he and I worked together, 24 hours a day for 7 years. You know, I mean, for all that time for us to get in maybe one fight is not bad at all.
Can't hold something from this in your rearview mirror out in front of the street, you know, in front of you, that's back there. You know, on the real side of it, I didn't drag him to the river. One of my buddies, we drug him over the woods and poured gas on him and burned him up.
And maybe I even heard that if they're burned, they don't burn as much as you think they would, and there's a lot of bones that you got to bury them.
That is the story that he told me, yes.
And when did he tell you that?
When we were partners.
So this is in the 90s he told you this?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, you told us that Marty tells a lot of big stories, and 99% of the time we should take it with a grain of salt. This story is not a lie? You think this is true?
This is absolutely true. He told me a long time ago that did happen, yes. Because I can look at him in the face and I can listen to the story and tell when he's telling the truth and when he's not, you know?
So is it possible that this storyline explanation has to do with the fact that you don't?
You got as much as you can get.
Yeah.
That's as much as I can give you. Hypothetically or not, there it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to look through the smoke. Smoke and mirrors does a lot.
That is the world according to Marty Jannetty. Yeah, that's wild. Jannetty is, you know, not having chemistry with either Snow or Austin. So we might just try him back with Sean for a couple of matches or so once he's not rusty anymore. But other than that, he might have to job out the rest of his career, you know. But at least he didn't go through the barbershop window. You know, I didn't do that to him. A little bit of a different path, but probably an earlier path of breaking them up and getting Marty kind of jobbed out. But thanks for watching, and next time I think we can do the UWF. You know, I'm running the UWF. I bought out Herb Abrams' UWF, so I was like, you know what? It's not a particular person, but I could just kind of talk about my company a little bit more and overall, like how my booking has been going on and stuff. So, yeah, peace out. See you in the next one.